It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode 38 of the Teen Talk Skating podcast. My name is Van Gogh, and we are really getting down to the wire in the figure skating world. But first, I really want to ask how everyone is doing, of course. This week has been so bleh, but at least I have my best friend Stitch. Actually, I don't. He's not with me. He's sitting on my bed right now. Should I go get him? Well, I'm a bit lazy. He's taking a nap right now, okay? But yeah, this week has been so for me. There's been 5,000 things going on, and I've been trying to manage it all and still somehow breathe and live at the end. I've had so many tests and assignments and so many things going on at school and so many people in my life, and it's just like, oh my god, like it's been chaotic. But what's even more chaotic is, of course, the world of figure skating. Like, actually, please help me. Like, why is it so chaotic? Um, but I hope you all are doing very well. I hope your week was not as hectic as mine. I'm just trying to calm down. I'm trying to breathe. Um, yeah, I guess I should talk about the program of the week. I was like, is there more to say? And I was like, oh, I guess there isn't more to say. But yeah, let's talk about the program of the week. Ooh, see you on the other side of this. Ready? Bye. Woo. Yay. I'm so weird. Oh my gosh. Help me, please. Program of the week. Okay, so your program of the week this week is an ice dance program. I feel like I haven't done an ice dance program in a while. It's an ice dance program from one of my favorite teams, my favorite ice dance teams, and that is Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri of Italy. This is their 2021 to 2022 Olympic season free dance to Atonement, the soundtrack of Atonement, and the movie, and Song for the Little Sparrow, performed by Patricia Koss, I believe is how you say her name. Sorry if I'm wrong. But this is such a beautiful free dance, and it's a dramatic free dance. And it's just one of my favorites from Guillard and Fabry because they are great technicians. I think you can tell that. Like, technically, their ice dance skills are really good. But this is really a theatrical program, and they really are telling a story here. I think it really is a story of maybe pain, I believe, is what kind of they're trying to portray, maybe pain within a relationship between two people. I just feel like there is a struggle between the two of them, and like kind of they're trying to figure it out, and perhaps maybe at the end they do figure it out. But that's kind of the interpretation I get from this. It does feel very interpretive of the music. It does feel very, it let the audience believe what they want from this. There are so many moments where I really enjoy the program. The beginning opening sequence with the music, it's kind of like camera shutters, I guess, and how they just move so mechanically at first, and then they become looser as the program goes on. There's a moment when Marco Fabri like ducks under Charlene Guignard's leg after like a cool lift that they do. The in the middle of the program, we have a choreo slide sequence where both of them just rush across the ice on their knees as the music also kind of rushes on with the melody. And they really do create these very beautiful images. There's so many beautiful kind of iconic moments within the program. The very last curve lift with Charlene Guignard standing on Marco Fabri's like God, what do you call these things? Quadriceps, right? Okay, I'm passing PE, I promise. And then instead of just standing straight up, she kind of leans back and puts her arms back, kind of like in a lay back, and it's just that image of so much pain, almost so much like agony. I feel like is what she's kind of portraying there, and Marco Fiber kind of looking up at her. It really is a story of two people being together, two people not being together, two people struggling, two people doing well. It's just so interesting to me how they were able to portray this. The choreography is amazing. The outfits are so elegant and nice. Um and like you can tell this is a story that they really do care about, that they do really do like portraying. And the end is just so like it's the final like crescendo. It's the final like peak, the emphasis on the end, that really last note and that let's both lay back like ending pose that they do. I don't know how to explain it, but they're both kind of laying back on one another, and it looks so good. But yes, that was my little freak out rant moment about Charlene Guillard and Marco Fabri. Their 2022 Olympics free dance. Please go check it out. It's so worth it. Every little detail is just amazing. The story is amazing, and you really do feel like you're watching a movie on ice. So yeah, go check it out. And time for your main episode. Whoa, did I sing last week? I swear I sung last week and it did not go well. So, yeah. Bye. That was your program of the week. Okay, like I said in the intro, we are really getting down to the final countdown. In fact, I guess the final countdown has already happened. Literally, as I am recording this episode, Ski America has already started. In fact, I just came back from watching the women's short program at Ski America. So there's that. But we're in this episode, we're gonna pretend that Ski America hasn't happened yet, and I'll explain how and why kind of the timing is gonna work for these episodes about the Grand Prix. It is a bit complicated, and everything will be like a little bit later than maybe ideal, I guess. But it just works better with the flow of the podcast without having to change too much of it. And I'll explain all that later. But basically, we're gonna pretend Skate America hasn't started, and we're gonna go back to last week. Um, so let's think. Last week was October 11th. Today is October 18th as I'm recording this. Skate America has started, but that didn't happen yet. Time machine back to October 11th. Last week, we had a Challenger Series event before the Grand Prix started, the very last Challenger Series event before the Grand Prix started. There are more Challenger Series, and I will try to discuss more of them as we go along with the Grand Prix. It does get a bit complicated, but I will try to discuss them. Um, and this Grand or not this Grand Prix, no, this Challenger Series was actually kind of calm. Like it wasn't like chaotic. Like how did you end up in 11th place? No, it was actually very calm, like relaxing. Like it was calm. Like do I sound calm? Probably not. Um, but yeah, and that event was the Challenger Series Budapest Trophy in 2024. Of course, it's 2024. What year would it be? But yeah, the Budapest Trophy in Budapest, in Hungary. I feel like I didn't need to say that. It was a bit of a smaller competition. There weren't as many skaters, I guess, but we did see a lot of notable skaters here, and a lot of skaters I really do want to talk about. Um, because this season, of course, is kind of the season that decides next season. What is going to happen next year in the Olympic season is really decided by this season. And there's so many notable things going on, so many notable people, so many notable events, and I'm just like scared for it all. But we can all breathe, okay? We can all breathe. Just breathe, right? So first we had the men's competition at the Budapest Trophy. This was actually a relatively normal competition. It was a smaller competition. There weren't as many men competing as maybe a usual Challenger Series would be, but it was a little less chaotic, but still some notable skaters to see. First of which was in third place, and that is Nikita Starosten of Germany. I feel like Nikita Starosten is seen as Germany's very bright and very happy skater. He is very much out there. He's so much fun to watch. His short program this year, in what has to be such an ultimate moment, I guess. His short program this year is set to "Never Gonna Give You Up." I believe it's a remix of the song by Rick Astley. So, yeah, I love the idea of Rick rolling everyone for your short program. That's so iconic. But genuinely, it is kind of funny, I guess, how I don't know. Is that funny? It's definitely fun. how he's trying to rickroll everyone for his short program. Um, but, in the short program, he did have a few issues. There was a fall on the triple S triple toe. There was a shaky free from him as well. He may have attempted a quad salchow, but he did pop it into a triple salchow. Otherwise, there were only minor errors on the other jumps. But it was very interesting to see because I believe he has not landed a quad in competition before. But of course, it does appear that he's training to do the quad salchow, and it does look like he intended to do it here, but he popped it. So very interested to see what he will do with that in the future. His free skate is set to opera music, which I I love that. You know what? Like I love rickrolling everyone for your show program and then literally doing like opera for your free program. It's just great. It's just I love that. I love that for you. But I do hope we see more of Nikita Starosin because I feel like he's such like an exuberant, such a bright, such like a like makes you feel good, like just by watching 10 seconds of his skating, tennis skater. Um, Another fun skater ended up in second place, from Switzerland, and that is Lucas Britsky, who has had some really solid results over the last 2 seasons. He got that bronze at Europeans, I believe, 2 seasons ago. He's been top 10 at Worlds twice now. And every season he really does build and build and build, and he gets better. I think Lucas Britsky has really built a name for himself. I remember at the Olympics, I don't remember what placing he got, but it was not the best placing, for him that he hoped, but he's really gotten better and better and better, and his quads have gotten better and better and better, and he's really, developed, and technically and I think artistically as well. He's become more notable. In the short program, he did pop a quad toe into a triple toe, so I believe that became like a solo jump question mark. Might have been a combo, I don't know. In the free, he did fall on a quad toe and he popped the triple axle into a single axle. And those are some pretty notable points. He probably lost about 10 points on that. Those two mistakes alone. Um, he would like some better scores, especially since we know what he's been able to do in the past. Like, that free program at Worlds last season was really good. Both performances at Worlds were really good. But it is early in the season, and I think, he obviously is one of those skaters who has done better in the past, and I think he will do better in this season, but it is just early. It's very much I feel like Lucas Brisky has been a dark horse in the international context, but I can definitely see him on the European podium for sure. I feel like that is like a shoe in. Maybe I don't want to say shoe in, but I feel like he's pretty likely to be on the European podium, relatively. But yeah, a bit of a dark horse, on the Grand Prix and things. First place was a very, very good comeback for a skater we haven't seen since Europeans, and that is Matteo Rizzo of Italy. He had some injury issues last season. He didn't compete at Worlds, even though he got a bronze at Europeans. I believe right after that bronze at Europeans, he had to go get surgery. I think that the doctors, I forgot what it exactly was, but I believe the doctor said, like, you have to go. Like, you cannot, like, after Europeans, you're done. But it looks like he has gotten a lot better. He attempted a quad loop in the short. He under rotated it, but it was an interesting try. Not a quad that a lot of men, I think, attempt, but a quad loop is interesting. Same issue in the free, under rotated as well. But if he gets that jump consistent and gets that jump cleanly rotated, that could earn him quite a few points. And like Lucas Britsky, I definitely see Matteo Rizzo, on the European podium again. He was bronze last year, so I believe he could totally do it again, so long as he doesn't aggravate that injury again. Though at the top, I feel like there are a couple of European men who would like to have a say. We have Adam Schoenfeld, Denis Vasilyevs, Gabriel Frangipani is up there as well. And I feel like, in general, the European men's competition can be a little tough, but I think Lucas Britsky and Matteo Rizzo, have the potential to be on there. For the women, we had another relatively normal competition. The first skater I want to talk about is a skater I feel so bad for, but I love her skating so much. And from Estonia, that is Eva Lotta Kibus. And here she placed 19th. She has had so much struggle with injury, and both programs were just not the best for her. Lots of pops and, a few falls, and but it's literally okay for me because she's on that trail of recovery, and I love her skating for its, like, fierceness and her emotion, and I remember her performance at the Olympics. She did that beautiful free skate to, A Star Is Born that I just thought was so good. Injury hit really hard for Eva Lotukibus, but I'm really hoping that she can build herself back up again and let these, results that might not be her ideal results be the past behind her. I believe she's been in the 200s before, and she's a great skater, and I would hate to see her like not do well in the future. I really, really do want her to do really well. And then moving up a few places, we had Madeline Skeezus in oopsies. What place did Maddie Skeezus get? Maddie Skeezus got fifth place here. So, we've seen Maddie Skeezus have a lot of good skates and some good scores in the past. Last year at Skate Canada was really good for her. The year before that at Skate Canada, she did a beautiful short, I think. What else has my skis? In the Olympics, that team event, those two skates in the team event were exquisite. But consistency isn't Maddie Skeets as strong as suit. Though artistically, I think she does add her a little flair here and there. She did a clean short program, including a very strong triple lutz triple toe that got good creative execution. The free had a few errors. She got a repetition call on the lutz. She popped a double axle on the sequence. Um, and, I think considering that there is very fierce competition now from Madiskeezus in Canada domestically, we've had both Kaya Ryder be very competitive. She was Canadian champion last year, and then now we have Uliana Shirayeva, who was at the Dennis Ten Memorial and did really good. It's going to be an interesting fight to see which one of these three women will go to Worlds and will earn an Olympic spot for Canada, and of course, who will go to the Olympics with those spots. Will it be Matiskisas? Will it be Kaya Ryder? Will it be Uliana Sharaeva? I don't know. Matiskisas has always seemed kind of like the forerunner, but consistency matters so much. And I think if Matiskisas got a little more consistent, she'll be really good. Because I do like her programs and I do like her approach. It's just the consistency that I think she needs to work a bit more on, but I know she can really do it. In fourth place, we had from. Sorry, guys. In fourth place from the USA, we had Miss Lindsay Thorngren. Last season was really good for her. She got a silver at an NHK trophy with two good skates there. I remember that short program was very notable. And she's been around on the US women's circuit. She's been around for a while, and she's definitely looking to make an even bigger splash this season, which I think she can definitely do. But of course, the US women's field is super competitive right now. And if she wants to make a splash, she really does have to shine in her technical abilities and her artistic abilities. In the short, she just got a quarter on her triple lutz triple toe. In the free, there were a lot of quarters and under rotations, unfortunately. There were smooth skating skills from her. I saw a Reddit post, I think, like just like complimenting Lindsay Thorngren on her skating skills. And she has more contemporary feeling programs this year, which is a style that I feel like is not explored enough in figure skating. And in fact, I would love to see it explored more. And I think going contemporary and doing something different is a way to go. And I like the programs. The jumps just have to be there with the quarters and under rotations. Those have to go. Of course, rotating cleanly is definitely very hard for some skaters, but we just had to rotate, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Lindsay Thorngren, like, love you so much. Rotate the jumps, and I feel like she's really solid. She's a really solid skater. And like I see her going to Worlds, the Olympics, I don't know. And then one thing I added just as a note was that a few seasons ago, I feel like it was the Olympic season, I believe that she attempted it, but she was attempting triple axels that Olympic season, and she hasn't attempted one in a while. I do not know if she is still training it. Perhaps this is a strategic move to focus on everything but the triple axel, which, I definitely see some skaters do go for a lot of triple axels and they don't land it cleanly, and, you know, they should like focus more on the other jumps. Perhaps that's the strategy Lindsay Thorngren is going. But if she did return back to training the triple axel, I feel like that would set her above a bit more. But if she isn't, then I think it's the quality of the jumps that is really important for Lindsay Thorngren. In third place, we had Laurine Schild from France, who is really the top French woman currently. And I do find her skating better and better and better each season. Last season, she had a great free skate to, oh my gosh, Hell to the Lions, I believe it was called. I do find her skating better. I really like that program. I like her program this season. She had a lovely short program to one of my favorite French songs, Laissez-moi danser. I just thought it was very lovely. It was very lovely, and kind of a new side that I feel like I haven't seen from her is a bit more gracefulness and like lightness and airiness, and that's what that program really gave me. She was very clean there. In the free, she did have two quarters on two jumps with a fall on the triple loop, but still good qualities and solid technical base. I do think the judges will give her more in the future. Definitely developing, and if she continues to get better, I feel like I could see a very big splash, a very big result for her. Such as like a top 10 at Worlds or something. If she got better and more clean, and yeah, I do think her skating is great. In second place from Switzerland, we had Kimi Rippon, who has been third at Europeans before. That was 2 seasons ago. And I do think Kimi Rippon is quite graceful, quite lovely. In her short, she really showed that it was a very clean short. And I find that her jumps go really fast in the air. I have to say, I feel like she spins faster, rotates faster in the air than most skaters do. Very cool technique. In the free, she did have a couple under rotations, but she was first in the free skate, but second overall. The Swiss women currently are super competitive. We have Kimi Rippon here, obviously, Livia Kaiser, who we'll discuss next week for Skate America, and a couple of junior skaters here and there as well from Switzerland, from the women's discipline. And I'm interested to see if, Kimi Rippon can really be a dark horse on the Grand Prix or at Europeans. At Worlds last year, she was absolutely amazing. I believe she was fifth overall in the end or something. She had that amazing free skate, and she really just dominated. I feel like that, and I'm very interested to see if she will be a dark horse. Yeah. And then our winner that I am so happy to talk about kind of more fully in depth for in depth. I can never say that. I think I did that last week too. In depth. I'm sorry. In depth than last week. In depth than previously is Alyssa Liu because she is back, y'all. Alyssa Liu is back, and I'm so happy to see her back. If you don't know Alyssa Liu, at 16 she went to the Olympics. She got a bronze medal at Worlds, and then she ended up retiring. But she has really found from like the interviews and articles I've seen, she's found a new spark in skating, and a really healthy like skating life balance, I guess. And she decided to come out of retirement. Now she is back at the age of 18, skating for herself. I really do think that's really what she's going for. And she's really making a good season debut. Obviously, winning your first international competition, especially for a whole 2 years retirement, is super good. It kind of does feel like she said, "Nah, two seasons. I was not gone 2 seasons. I was gone like a week." In the short, she just did a triple flip, triple toe quarter, and a couple more under rotation calls in the free. She did get a downgrade on a triple Lutz Euler, triple Sal on that last jump, but still in the end, quite good. Her short program is set to a very contemporary song, a very, pop culture song as that is Promised by Loewe. And I really liked it. I really did like that airiness in that. And then the free skate is set to MacArthur Park by Donna Summer. And in that one, I really enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed that because there was just something new. It was something very freeing and unlike the younger, not the older, the younger, the previous Alyssa Liu. Um, it was very much let loose, and it was very much open, I feel like, and it was very much, "Yes, I'm having fun." I think previously, in the Olympic season, I couldn't connect to Alyssa Liu's programs as much because they just felt so heavily not, unique and not very much like she had input into them. They did feel very classical, following the rules kinda thing. But with these programs, Alyssa Liu's really breaking that, I feel like, and showing a bit personality, a bit of fun, and I really like kind of the discoing vibe of MacArthur Park for her. And I definitely see I was a bit unsure, I have to say, about this program at the beginning of the season, but I really like this idea, I really like this concept, and I think she will go very far with it. But of course, US women right now, oh man, they scary. They scary as heck. Because there's so many. I can't even name them all. Amber Glenn, Alyssa Liu, Sarah Everhart, Isabel Levito, Elise Lynn Gracie, Ava Marie Ziegler. I'm forgetting 5 Million Star Andrews is in there. Um, Lindsay Thorngren, of course. Like, there's just so many names. Um, Brittany Tennell as well. I almost forgot her. Brittany Tennell. There's just so many names, not enough like spots. Obviously, there's a good like 7, 8, 9 women. I feel like in the U.S. who are quite competitive, and whoever comes out clean on top is going to. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. I feel like it's really gonna be hard. In pairs, we did have no pairs at the CS Budapest Trophy this year. Yay or nay, I don't know. Either way, we'll see them at the Grand Prix events. There's pairs at every Grand Prix events with plenty of awesome showdowns and competitions to witness. Again, I'm gonna pretend I don't know the results of the Paris short program at Skate America. That did not happen yet, guys, right? That totally did not happen yet. Um, But yeah, that definitely did not happen yet. So then we have the ice dance competition. So I always say ice dance is very calm, right? Ice dance is always very calm. I love ice dance just being calm and calm and calm. Um, yeah, and so our first team and I liked a lot of the teams here. I do enjoy a lot of the teams skating here. My first team that I wanted to talk about was Holly Harris and Jason Chan from Australia. In my opinion, they are so underrated. I really like Holly Harris and Jason Chan as a team together. They're pretty underrated in my opinion, and I love them. In the rhythm dance, they did have a error on their pattern kind of sequence, I believe is the name of the element. And the technical side isn't always the best for them. They've had, errors on their twizzles or lifts before, but artistically is where they shine. And they really did that in their Claire de Lune free dance, which really is Claire de Lune, but like every single version of Claire de Lune, like ever, including the I Love You Kung Fu, Claire de Lune from Shoma Una's short program last season. And I really enjoy this Claire Lune program. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a Claire Lune program as much as this one. It really has nice vibes. There's just some cool artisticness in their costumes, and I like that they're doing something classical with Claire de Lune, but they're adding something contemporary on it that is inherently them and inherently, Holly Harris and Jason Chan. This is kind of who we are, and I definitely think the those subtle moments in the program when they're both like kind of not holding each other but holding each other, looking at each other, it adds something ethereal and spiritual and like otherworldly in their skating. So I really enjoyed that feeling that they created on the ice with their Claire de Lune. Next we want to talk about the fourth place team, which was the team of Yuka Orihara and Juho Pirinen from Finland. And Finland has really, built their ice dance this year. I really do think Orihara and Pirinen are known for being very fun. They are similar to Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson in the way that they are seen as a very fun, youthful, very innovative team. Orihara and Purinen, I love them. Their rhythm dance is literally set to YMCA. Like, excuse me, like you've sold me already, It's just sold me with that. And they actually do the YMCA in the middle of it, and it's just I love that. it is so much chaos and so much going on in the rhythm dance, but it's so much fun at the same time. And you can tell that like they're having the time of their lives. Like YMCA ba da da ba da da. You know, they're just having so much fun. They're they're having fun and they own it, you know? They having fun and they own it. And they're like, like don't, don't stop our fun. Their free dance to a chorus line, the musical, is very fun as well. I do see shades of their Chicago free dance from last year coming through with a similar musical vibe, a similar, vocals in the background vibe, the similar like gestures kind of thing. Not to say that is a bad thing. Obviously, I think they're playing to their strengths, which is these really fun programs. I would like to see them do something lyrical almost. They've had such creative programs. Before this, they had that Mermaid Eats the Sailor's Heart program, which is so interesting as well. And if they did something innovative like that, something more artsy, I feel like I would really like that as well from them. But they're just so um how do you say versatile, I feel like, as skaters. And I'm really excited to see what they can do this season. And I definitely see them. Maybe this is a little, wishful thinking on the European podium if the judges go with them. I literally say this to like every ice dance team from Europe. I feel like the European ice dance bronze medal battle is difficult. But yeah, in third place, we have my favorite team, my one of my favorite ice dance teams, along with Shanlin Kinyari and Michael Fabri, as I mentioned earlier, from Finland. That is Julia Terkila and Matthias Vesluis. In the rhythm dance, they did have a twizzle error, which kind of brought them down a bit. In the free dance, oh, I'm just full of the cough today. In the free dance, they've gone with a tango theme. It is different for them. They usually go with more, I guess, lyrical free dances. Last year we did that more contemporary style. The year before was Schubert, I believe. This year they've gone for tango. And for now, I love them as a team, but the tango isn't the best vibe for me right now, just yet. Um, but a lot more character came out, I guess, towards the end of the program. Towards the end of it, with the character step sequence, for sure, I started to see a bit more of the character in them, a little more, anger and spice, and that really emotion coming out within both of them. And I definitely do think that this is a vehicle that will build as long as with the season. Maybe they will like fine tune it, maybe because I feel like the emotion should be more spread throughout the program. But they're really, really good, and I love them so much. And again, return to the European podium? Question mark? Please, please, please. In second place, we had the U.S. team of Emily Brady and Ian Somerville. Very nice results from them last season. They got a bronze at nationals, which in the U.S. ice dance field context is quite tough. They are really trying to stay as the number 3 U.S. ice dance team. There's so many ice dance teams in the U.S. with around the same technical potential that being the number 3 is really good. And Brady and Somerville want to stay that. And they want to improve technically. Their performance here was quite good. Personal best in the rhythm dance, personal best in the free dance. They kept their Nemikiti Pa free dance. Is not my favorite artistically, but the music is amazing because it's Celine Dion and I love Celine Dion. But the choreo doesn't connect as well, I feel like. I did see some people kind of complain about this, that the story in it is kind of a bit lost, and maybe they can build on that. But I feel like there needs to be more of an artistic story to this program. But I really do enjoy it. And first, it was the U.S. ice team, Carrera and Ponomarenko. Very solid ice dancers. I do find that they are very solid, who are slowly making up the world stage. They've been second at U.S. Nationals. They've been top 10 at Worlds twice now. Their Carmen free dance definitely incorporates the vibes and the right feelings of Carmen in there. And I hope it develops even more as it continues to skate it. Even more emotion would be like very, very convincing that this is Carmen. But I really enjoy it. I definitely see them going further in the world. Perhaps the top 5 is reachable for them. I really do think they can win, 4 continents and things like that. Because they are a really good team. But I do think they can push the artistic envelope even more. And that was their first place. So that was the CS Budapest Trophy. I know I kind of went over it really fast. It was a smaller competition. But that is not the end of the episode, people. Do not leave just yet. Okay, I talked about one competition. Now we're gonna talk about whole dang Grand Prix series. Because I wanted to do a quick kind of overview of the Grand Prix and the major skaters, the potential Grand Prix final qualifiers, what I am kind of hoping for in the Grand Prix series. Um, I'm not hoping for anything so far. I don't want to keep my hopes up. Is the thing. I know I'm gonna get disappointed. I know I'm gonna get angry. I know I'm gonna get sad and cry, and also be happy at the same time for my favorites. But I want to preview the Grand Prix. So I definitely think this is going to be a very chaotic Grand Prix season. If these early results have said anything at all, there are so many people who have already done so well this season. There's been so many big names that have competed that it really can. I see it as anyone's game at this point. It is anyone's game because what do I love to say on this podcast? Ice is slippery, and anything can happen at any point, and anyone can take advantage of it. Is what I think. And of course, I'm so glad to have a Teen Talk Skating podcast so I can rant about my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions about my favorite skaters, the ones that win, the ones that lose, and I hope you all follow along for the extra chaos this season. But for a little bit of a preview, um, again, there's so many skaters that I see winning everything, that I see losing, maybe not losing. I don't want to say that. That I see winning, of course. Um, and there are just it's so many big names, like, there's so many possibilities that it hurts more than my pre-calculus class hurts, okay? Like, in my head, it hurts thinking like, "Oh my god, is this man gonna go through, or is he gonna go through? Oh my gosh, what if he doesn't go through? Like, what if he won this, but then he lost this? I don't know." But there are so many skaters right now. So many skaters with so many abilities and uniqueness, and also one things that they have in similar with each other. And I think that makes it all the more spicier and all the more tense when you're watching skating. I won't talk about it too much like this and in this episode, but watching that women's short program at Skate America was quite tense. But for a Grand Prix preview in the men's competition for the Grand Prix, there are so many men with so many technical capabilities, and I think a lot of scores might be quite marginal, if that makes sense. I think someone might only win by a point or two, maybe decimals of a point. I think scores can be quite marginal this year. With the man. And I've decided to kind of make a few predictions. I know I did this in the summertime, but it's been a lot different now. Very likely to go to the Grand Prix final, in my opinion, is Ilya Malinin, Yuma Kagiyama, and Adam Schoenfall. Adam Schoenfall was injured, I guess, over the summer, so perhaps that will hinder him a little bit. But I do think that he will still make it through, depending on his injury. And then those are the three I think will be very likely. Some others I could see going through. Any of the Japanese men, Kaomiura or Shunsato or Sota Yamamoto, uh, the Japanese men are quite competitive. Even with the retirement of Shoma Uno, the Japanese men are here to play, and there's a lot of them that can and I think will win a Grand Prix medal. So any of the Japanese men could definitely go to the Grand Prix final with Yuma Kageyama. Jason Brown is returning to the Grand Prix series. Scoring wise, the quads to me don't really matter, but if we're talking like artistically and like holistic score wise, Jason Brown often wins the competition based on components, or does really well against the other competitors because of his components, his artistic side. I definitely think that can be the case here. From Switzerland, of course, I discussed earlier, Lucas Britsky. I feel like he could really be a dark horse. I'm telling you, I think there's going to be a lot of dark horses within these competitions. Matteo Rizzo, as I said earlier as well, at Budapest Trophy is someone who I could see get some Grand Prix medals, go to the final. And then some surprises, that I discussed or I want to think that will happen. I think a surprise for me or perhaps he will be like an alternate for the final, is Mikhail Shidorov of Kazakhstan, who has done really well. We saw him, we talked about him last week with his win at the Dennis Hen Memorial. He is solid, and I think that quad lutz can take him really far if he does cleanly. Nika Igadze of Georgia as well is someone who I think, can pick up some Grand Prix medals, perhaps go to the final if all the cards are played out in his favor. And, just a little bit of hope for me is Denis Valsias of Latvia. Ah, please, he's won Grand Prix medals in the past, but I'm really hoping that Dennis Valsius gets his consistency up this season and that those medals become his. Okay, like I want him to win 2 golds. He is at Skate America. And I'm like so nervous for him. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's the men's preview. For the women are the most unpredictable for me, and I don't know, like it's been confusing, I have to say. There have been so many different results so far in the season from so many different women skaters that just leave me feeling confused. I'm confused, okay? Like I don't know who's gonna make it, I don't know who will not, like it's confusing. um Yesterday morning, which was Thursday morning for me, I got the news via Reddit that Luna Hendricks had actually withdrew from her first Grand Prix de France, and and I was a bit shocked because I did see Luna Hendricks as being someone who was probably going to qualify the Grand Prix final, but as she withdrew from one event, that is no longer, I guess, possible. So I think that even leaves the field even more open. I love Luna Hendricks so much. I hope she gets well. I hope it was an injury. It is an injury. I hope it is an injury, but that does leave the door open for a lot of women because of Luna Hendricks leaving. It doesn't feel like there are very definite shoe-ins. Like I won't say like yes, Ilya Malinin will make it through. Perhaps one skater who will make it through is Chaeyeon Kim of South Korea. Out of all the women so far this season, she has been the best technically. At Shanghai Trophy, she was just amazing and clean. Potential and likely is Bolivito and Kaori Sakamoto. I definitely see those two being quite likely to make it to the Grand Prix final. Otherwise, Kimi Rippon maybe? Is it Monet Chiba? Is it Rinka Watanabe? Is it Amber Glenn? Is it Sarah Everhart? Is it Elise Lynn Gracie? Like, there are so many women who can and will make it to the final. It just depends on which ones. And a lot of that will play out technically. There's just so many women who have so many good technical abilities. We have women with the triple axel, such as Amber Glenn. Is that really going to give her an advantage over some of the other women who might be more good in graded execution? Um, and we have skaters who are challenging themselves, women that are challenging themselves with these really difficult technical elements. And I think that this will be one of the most chaotic women's figure skating seasons ever. Because it's more intense than it has been in such a long time. And I'm so nervous and I'm so excited and I'm so what the heck? I don't know. Please now help me. But yeah, that's the women's competition. In the pairs, there are a lot of pairs who have similar technical capabilities. Um, and there have been events recently that have been like weirdly chaotic. Like last year's Europeans was chaotic, and like what happened in the pairs competition there. It will depend a lot on technical scores. I feel like with the pairs, I feel like it usually does depend on technical scores. Some shoe-ins I think will be Hasse and Volodin of Germany, Slato Dudek and the Champ of Canada, and Miura and Kihara of Japan. The team of Lucrezia Beccari and Matteo Guaris has actually withdrew from their first Grand Prix as well. So I don't think, or they probably, or they will not be able to make it to the Grand Prix final. But perhaps Haki and Kunkel, Ghiati and Brosini, Pavlo Estiachenko, Conti Masi, any of those pairs I feel like could also make it to the Grand Prix final, along with plenty of others. Italian pairs is a really tough field. Perhaps we'll even see an American team make it. Maybe Cam O'Shea will be the ones to make it, or maybe it will really be Emily Chan and Spencer Howell will make it. I don't know. Maybe an American team can be in there as well. And ice dance, of course, I always say this, ice dance is a lot more predictable than all the other disciplines. Watch out for Chalk and Bates, Gilson Poirier, Guignard Fabry, Fear and Gibson, and La Joie and Laga. I definitely think those five are definite shoe-ins, unless something crazy happens and something we don't expect happens, and maybe a few errors at a few ICNs. But I do think those five are gonna make it. There's so many people that could be that sixth qualifier, that dark horse. It could be Allison Reed and Solius and Bluvicius. It could be Carrera and Ponomarenko that we just discussed. It could be Loporeva and Brissot of France. It could be Turkila and Versluis of Finland, which I would really, really love. But it could be them. It could be like a lot of these teams. And yeah, I do think the ICM competition is quite interesting as well to me, because a lot of it will depend on like numbers and placement and medal positions. Yeah. But that was the preview. Now I do want to discuss a little update on the podcast, how Grand Prix episodes will work. Of course, the podcast comes out on Saturdays. Teen Talk Skating comes out on Saturdays, and I don't plan to change that. I don't want to move it to like the middle of the week, because for me that's when I have school and it gets really busy. And I know for like you listeners, that is kind of the middle of the hectic week, and the weekend is a lot better for everyone like collectively. Um so it will always be a week behind for Grand Prix episodes, if that makes sense. I don't want to mess up the schedule just to adjust around Grand Prix. So it'll always be a week behind. So basically, what that means is the Skate America episode will come out when Skate Canada is happening, and the Skate Canada episode will come out when the Grand Prix of France is happening, and it'll be kind of like that. It'll be like 1 week behind, because of course Grand Prix happen on Fridays, Saturday, and Sundays. Those are the 3 days of competition, and I don't want to upload on a Saturday for like half the competition and then do the other half when I don't really know. Um, so it will be a week behind, but of course I will still be providing a detailed, well thought out summary of each of the 4 disciplines at each of the Grand Prix. And I will do my best to kind of weave in some of the Challenger Series events as well. Just know that I will still be covering the figure skating season. Do not worry. Van Gogh of a Teen Talk Skating podcast is not going anywhere because he's a lunatic. But I will be kind of a week behind in a sense with the competitions. And as well, just know that there won't be any video essay type episodes for a while. That's why 2 weeks ago I did the one about social media, because it was like kind of the last one for a while. But I will be discussing competition for the next 6 weeks with the 6 Grand Prix. And then I'll come up with a million ideas for video essays in the meantime. But with that, I hope you all join along for this chaotic Grand Prix season that we will be having. I will be providing detailed summaries and commentary on every single Grand Prix and every single discipline, and as many skaters as I can that are notable, that are important, and I do not know what will happen. But I just want to tell you all, take a deep breath for this season. Do not get too stressed out. Um, Figure skating is fun. It's fun. It's relaxing for us viewers. It's the thing I want to do at the end of the week, is watch the skating competition, because school is terrible. Ugh. Get some sleep, take a deep breath, and all will be well. And with that, see you next week in Allen, Texas for Skate America. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Teen Talk Skating Podcast. My name is Van Gogh. I really hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. And next week we will be discussing Skate America 2024. And a bunch of other things, maybe. I don't know. My life, I guess. I don't know. And bye bye.